Good morning, everybody. Here we are looking at Luke 19. It's Luke 19 today. And as I was reading this, it really struck me that Jesus was taking something that didn't belong to him. It's kind of odd, isn't it? That was the. And as I read through, I kept finding myself coming back to this thought. Jesus sent his disciples to go get a mule colt that was tied up that didn't belong to him. Didn't belong to him. And the disciples were instructed that if anybody asked them about it, why they were taking this, the message was, its master needs him. So they go, sure enough, they find it exactly where Jesus said. They start untying it, and the owner, you can imagine, somebody shows up and starts getting into my car. What do you think you're doing? Its master needs it. Okay. So what's that about? Well, there's something in that message. There's something there that Jesus conveyed to the owner of that colt. Its master. Its master. Listen, there's all kinds of untold stories from Jesus' ministry on this earth. All kinds of things. The gospel writers tell us that they couldn't record it all. There wasn't enough books in the world that we could record everything that happened. They had picked basically highlights in important moments, snapshots. Don't think that you have the whole thing. There's all kinds of things that happen. This is what's important to be conveyed to us, so we have the idea, the different categories of what was going on. So for my thinking, this is one of those untold stories. Who is the owner of this colt? Somebody who called Jesus master? Somebody who aligned himself with Jesus? Somebody who Jesus knew his heart. He knew his heart. And was this a man whose attitude was that everything that he owned belonged to the Lord, and whatever the Lord needed, as in Yahweh, whatever Yahweh needed of him, he would give it back because it wasn't his in the first place. I know at least one person who has that kind of attitude, who would lend her car to anybody who needed it because that was her attitude. It wasn't hers. It belonged to the Lord, and if the Lord's people needed it, then they could use it. And somebody who wasn't tied to the possessions that they had, somebody who, because Jesus needed it, would gladly give it up. But for the disciples just to turn around and say its master needs it, tells me that this man knew who that they were referring to, who the master was. And just one of those untold stories. And what's our attitude towards, where are we with this? Where's our heart aligned? Are we operating according to the kingdom, where Jesus said that really we shouldn't be possessed by any possessions? We have to follow him. We have to be willing to say no to ourselves, no to our needs, no to our desires, and just lean into him. Take up the cross, the mission, and just follow in his example, and follow after him, follow his attitude, and follow what he did. And he never, even though everything was created through him, he never acted like he actually owned anything, even though everything was his. He said, when somebody said that he wanted to follow Jesus, and Jesus turned around and said, listen, I have no place to lay my head. I use a rock. I sleep out under the stars. Birds have nests, foxes have holes. The Son of Man has nothing, is how he referred to it. So he never saw himself needing to possess anything, because he had everything that he needed in the Father. And that is the attitude we're supposed to have. as his followers, that we have everything that we need in our master. We have everything that we need in our king. He is our everything. So there's no real loss in our life, because things will come into it and things will go out of it. We will be given things to give to other people. So we have it for a while, and then we are to pass it on to somebody else. And this is how the body works. This is how the kingdom works. This is what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, that cult arrested me there for a moment to think about that. Jesus taking something that didn't belong to him, and yet everything belongs to him, but he never laid claim to anything during those 3 years of ministry here on this earth. So something for you to think about. Where are we with this? You guys have a blessed day. Love you. Miss you all.